a shocking case. An 11-year-old boy was riding his bicycle to his mother in a nearby village. The next day, his body was found in the woods. What happened? Who and why took his life? Clairvoyants take on the investigation. A district center, May 9th. The news of the brutal murder of an 11-year-old schoolboy, Yuri Miroshnichenko, has shocked the town.
We all fear. Fear for ourselves and for our children.
To lose such a child, my swallow, my sweet boy.
Law enforcement officers turned to the show's editorial office for help in solving this case.
We're simply obligated to find this criminal. That's why we reached out to the psychics.
The boy's body was found in the forest, asphyxiated with signs of violence all over.
There was barely any trace evidence at the scene because it rained heavily several times that evening.
No footprints, no fingerprints. The rain washed everything away. Who and why killed the 11-year-old schoolboy will be investigated by participants of our project. Hereditary shaman Maryna Khomushku and medium Anna Galyers.
For some reason, I get the image of a man. He's on the street smoking. Maybe this is somehow connected to the murder.
There were cigarette butts on the road, spaced about 2 to 3 meters apart.
It's possible that the found cigarette butts were indeed left by the killer, but with the same probability, they could have been left by anyone else who walked along this road during the day.
Meter by meter, officers combed the forest along the road to find any trace of the killer, but in vain. Almost all residents of nearby villages were checked for involvement in the murder.
The scary part is nothing is known. It's chilling that he walks nearby.
People can't feel safe until the real killer is found.
We really hope that the psychics can help to solve this crime.
We need to go to the place where he was found.
We are ready to assist you and support your work.
The child's body was found 3 kilometers from the town. The road is bad, so the clairvoyants walked the rest of the way.
On our way to the place where the boy's body was found, I felt that he often traveled this road.
On weekends, the boy rode this road from the town to the village, to his parents' dacha. Usually, his mother and stepfather left in the morning, and Yuri came later.
I called Irina and said Yuri has left.
The body of our young boy was found right here at this spot.
It takes 40 to 50 minutes to get from the Miroshnichenko house to the village by bike.
He never lingered anywhere. If he was delayed somewhere in town, he would come to you and say, "Please let me call my grandma."
So, an hour and a half after the boy left home, Irina, his mother, raised the alarm.
At 3 p.m., the stepfather went by car to look for the boy. He drove all around the village, checked the pond, the lake, and the river behind the village. Maybe the boy went swimming?
For 4.5 hours, the stepfather searched near the water. He returned home around 8, and at about 9, the family contacted the police.
But the boy wasn't found on the first day, right?
The child wasn't found the first evening. The next day, at around 10 in the morning, in the forest near the railway tracks, the body of the young boy was found in the bushes. A criminal case was opened the same day.
I see the boy's head lying here, his legs there. He's lying on his back.
Indeed, the boy's body was discovered lying on his back.
He's partly dressed, partly not. Something in between. I can't tell.
May I ask you something? What exactly is missing?
The boy had a t-shirt. During the examination of the scene and the boy's body itself, the t-shirt was not found.
I wouldn't claim this 100%. but it seems to me the killer dragged the boy from somewhere to here.
Numerous abrasions, hematomas, and bruises were found on different parts of the body, on the face, neck, legs, and arms.
Most likely these are drag marks.
The place where the boy was found is 10 meters from the road in bushes and is poorly visible from the road. So there are two possibilities. Either the boy was lying there the whole time and the heavy rain just hid him, or he was indeed killed somewhere else and then brought here to be hidden.
I sense the boy was riding a bike, but I don't see the bike near the body.
The bicycle was found a little farther from where the boy's body was discovered during the scene examination.
The bicycle was found under a tree in the bushes.
This could mean that the killer brought the boy's body to the spot where it was later found using the bicycle. Then it's unclear why he left the bike there, in a visible place. Or the killer attacked the boy right by the road and dragged him into the bushes, leaving the bike behind.
We assume that the boy was simply riding to the village and met the person capable of this crime on that forest path.
He's lying on his back, dirt under his nails. He scratched the ground.
There was some dirt under the nails, of course. In one hand, a twig was clutched between the fingers.
The soil analysis from under his nails indicates that the boy was killed at the very spot where he was found.
He struck the boy right here. On the left here.
There are bruises and hematomas on his face. They could be from a blow.
The man covers his mouth with his hand so the boy can't scream. And then darkness. This is death.
The cause of death was mechanical asphyxia, strangulation. There were marks on the neck, but it's hard to say what caused them. No objects that could be linked to the strangling were found there, possibly by hand.
I see a man walking somewhere nearby. He's looking for the boy. It happened that same day. He's either waiting for something or just smoking. He was suspected. One of the first, actually.
The first person detained on suspicion of the murder was the boy's stepfather, Andriy.
The boy's biological father had died a year earlier of a heart attack. Yuri was only 9 at the time. Later, his mother met his future stepfather, and they started living together.
A regular guy, works, assembles furniture, normal.
Maybe there had been some conflicts before, since the child wasn't his own.
Yuri listened to him, loved going fishing with Andriy.
Mostly he'd swim a little, sit by the shore, sometimes run around. Occasionally took the fishing rod, caught a couple, came running to show me, happy, and ran off again.
The version of the stepfather's involvement in the boy's murder wasn't confirmed.
As a medium, I need to visit the cemetery in order to connect with the boy's spirit.
To tune into the boy, I need to visit his home.
The British medium is accompanied by a family neighbor. He remembers when the boy was first brought home from the hospital, how he later sped through the streets on his bike, and how he would come over to play with his kids.
I watched him grow up. How can anyone stay indifferent to the death of a child?
The spirit is standing beside me now. He is very amiable. It feels peaceful to talk to him. He wants to tell me about his sadness. I sense that he misses his late father deeply.
He would scream at night. I'd come to him, and he'd pull a pillow over his head and pretend to sleep. As soon as I'd leave, he'd start again.
He had to grow up fast. Although the boy was only 11, he thought like a man.
After his father's death, the family lost their only provider. The mother couldn't find work for years. She was left with 9-year-old Yuri and 5-year-old Katya, surviving only on the grandmother's pension.
He was careful with money. Even small change went into his piggy bank.
Sometimes his actions were very mature. Once, an English teacher brought a supplementary book to class and mentioned how much it cost. So, the next day, Yuri bought this book. It turned out he had collected scrap metal and used the money to pay for it.
While Anna Galyers is communicating with the boy's spirit at the cemetery, Maryna Khomushku is now with Yuri's mother in their home in town.
Please hold this. Since you share his blood, I can connect to him through you. He had a special energetic bond with his father. Usually such a bond is with the mother, but in his case, it was with the father.
According to family and friends, the boy spent more time with his father than with his mother.
You know, it was actually the father who raised him while he was alive. As for the mother, there was even talk of taking away her parental rights. She drank. After his father's death, it was the grandmother who took over and raised the boy.
Your child was special. He was not like the others. He was very gifted. He loved to draw.
Relatives recall that the boy spent every free moment drawing, later burning his sketches onto wooden boards.
Did he give you a drawing of an animal?
He gave me a burned picture of a deer for Women's Day.
He liked to make things with his hands, to carve, to shape something.
Whatever he took in his hands, he could make it. Yuri made stools, bird feeders. He even said, "I'll be a carpenter."
For the boy's family and friends, the death of 11-year-old Yuri was an irreparable loss. His grandmother still hasn't recovered from the grief and refused to meet with the psychics. She's afraid her heart wouldn't stand it.
I'd rather be in the grave myself. Nothing's worse than burying your grandchild.
I see another man besides the boy and his father. He's a relative of the child. He's somehow connected to the boy's death.
Who is the psychic talking about? The investigators had already questioned all of the boy's relatives and close friends.
I see a terrible car crash. This man died a violent death.
It was his father's brother. He died in a car accident in Germany.
He came back from Berlin, tired, fell asleep at the wheel. He spent 6 months in the hospital. The crash happened in December, and he passed away in May in 1994.
But if this man died many years ago, how could he have anything to do with the boy's death?
The boy says, "I was named after that man. That's why we are so much alike."
They even had the same birthmark on their back, under the shoulder blade.
You should never name a child after a relative who died tragically. The child inherits not only the person's looks, but also their fate.
It's hard to believe, but did Yuri really repeat his late uncle's fate?
The boy's spirit is now beside me, showing images from the last day of his life. Many people dressed for a celebration.
It was a holiday in the town that day, so before going to dacha, Yuri went into town with his grandmother.
After the celebration, the boy and his grandmother are walking somewhere but stop along the way, and for some reason, I see a mask.
The grandmother says, on the way home, they went into a store and bought a swimming mask.
We went to the store. I had picked out the mask in advance and bought it.
The boy was very happy to get the mask and still speaks of it with delight. He was so eager to go to the river with it.
He even tested it in the small basin by the veranda, by the porch. Checked. It worked. And that was it. He left.
The boy could not swim, but loved water. He had long asked his family for a swimming mask. Ironically, this childhood dream only came true on his last day.
He came back twice to the gate. Then he rode off to his misfortune and my grief. In the last moment, I wanted to ask, "Yuri, maybe you shouldn't go." but I didn't. And then, oh well, let him go.
Railroad, some bridge, then the forest.
His house is on the other side of the railroad. There's an underpass through the tracks. A local resident said that Yuri passed him. Also, a classmate saw him on the bridge. This is where the boy's trail stops.
According to witnesses, the boy was riding along the road he usually took to his mother's dacha.
The person who did this was not in their right mind. He was like a maniac.
The psychics decided to return to the crime scene.
Rape.
The boy was raped.
The experts confirm that there was indeed sexual contact before death.
It's just unimaginable. A little boy riding his bike to his mother in broad daylight. Who could have thought something like this would happen to him?
This is not a human. This is a beast. Even animals don't behave like this.
I see it clearly now. The boy was riding his bike. This man approached him. He wanted to get the boy's attention and threw something at him. I see a rectangular object.
A bag. A dark red bag.
Near where the boy was found, a bag was indeed discovered containing a plastic bottle of water.
If we assume that the bag with the plastic water bottle belonged to the killer, and consider the body's position and other evidence at the scene, the picture becomes clear. Most likely, the killer was walking toward the boy. After they passed each other, the killer turned around and threw the bag with the bottle toward him. The boy stopped. Then the killer struck him, dragged him into the bushes, sexually assaulted, and killed him.
But why did the killer leave the bag with the bottle at the crime scene? Why didn't he take it with him?
He sensed some danger and ran away very quickly in a rush.
Maybe he heard a noise. Maybe there was a group of people nearby. Maybe someone was riding a bike or a moped. He heard the sound and thought others might see him. That's why he left the crime scene quickly, so he could have left his things behind.
He lives somewhere nearby.
Yes, nearby. I see that this rapist lives in the village.
An ordinary local. He was just walking along this road.
Mostly, local residents use this road. Outsiders hardly know about it. So, we can assume that the killer is most likely a local resident.
The man was drunk, above average intoxication.
His mind just went blank when he saw the boy. I feel that you suspect a certain man. You even arrested him.
Indeed, as of today, a person suspected of committing the crime has been detained.
The detainee is a resident of a nearby village. He is currently in custody.
The detainee is old, yes, around 60?
Yes.
But I feel the killer is younger, around 30.
I see a fist. This fist is not wrinkled. Such a fist cannot belong to an old man who is 60 years old.
An anonymous call was made to the police. The caller provided both the killer's name and his current location. Acting on this tip, law enforcement went there and arrested a 55-year-old resident of a nearby village.
This man is very old. Given his health condition, he could not have done this.
Nobody in the village believes he did it. Nobody. He couldn't even kill a chicken. He's afraid of blood. He couldn't have harmed the boy.
He wouldn't hurt a fly. This man is innocent. We all know it. You could push him and he'd fall, especially since he was in plain sight all day.
Around 11, we gathered at the club with our husbands, playing and hanging out. He was with us all the time. Everyone could see he was there. He only left the club at 6 and was home by 7.
They searched his house. Found nothing. You could go to any house here and everyone will tell you he couldn't have done it. He was just set up.
The call to the police was anonymous. But if the caller really believed the accusations, why hide their name?
Perhaps it was someone trying to shift suspicion from the real killer by blaming the old man.
The man responsible for this crime is over 30 years old. He has striking black eyes.
He's medium height, stocky, dark-skinned, with a tattoo. And from what I sense, he's been in prison before.
One theory was that the crime was committed by someone with a prior conviction. Such individuals were also checked for involvement, but so far it has yielded no results.
You need to check it once again. You will find the killer. I see the boy. He's here now and sees all of us.
Yes, there he is, walking.
And this is what he wants to tell me. The killer didn't plan to kill him. It wasn't his goal. Everything happened suddenly.
Interesting details were provided by the psychics, which we will carefully review, verify, and analyze on our side. We hope to solve this crime, taking into account the information and insights the psychics have given us.
The young beauty's ghost is trying to save her sister from danger. What fact about their elder daughter's death are the victim's parents trying to hide? And why is their younger daughter's life in danger? Don't miss out. The dead girl will reveal the truth. The psychics undertake the investigation into the death of Anastasia Bukta, a young beauty from Ukraine. The school student's mutilated body was found next to an apartment building only 500 meters away from her home. Anastasia was only 14.
She's with me in two places at once. In the heaven and here.
The forensic examination found that the girl died as a result of falling from a great height.
She was found lying on her back with her head pointing at the building. Her arms and legs were extended.
What injuries did she suffer?
Massive internal injuries and a closed fracture of the base of the skull.
According to the police's official version, Anastasia committed suicide. However, the law enforcers don't know what could make the young girl take this desperate step.
Anastasia's friends and family don't believe she could kill herself.
I don't think it was suicide.
To commit suicide, you must have a reason.
I couldn't even approach her casket at the funeral. Whenever I tried to do it, I lost control. She was so young.
Anastasia's parents recall that on the day before the tragedy, she told them she wanted to go on a vacation abroad with them. It's highly unlikely that a person with such plans would commit suicide. Therefore, Anastasia's parents and friends are certain that somebody took her life and made it look like suicide. They noticed that the jewelry on the girl's hands was deformed.
Anastasia wore 2 rings on her fingers. The fact that they were deformed could mean that somebody pressed her hand tightly or that she resisted desperately.
To find out the truth about Anastasia's death, her family contacted the psychics.
What happened on the rooftop of that building? Why did she fall?
I simply want to know who did it. I just want to look them in the eyes and ask them why they did it.
Psychics Valentina Lichahina and Zhana Shulakova undertake the case.
I see a young fellow standing next to her, and it seems they have feelings for each other. He looks like her boyfriend. They dated.
Indeed, a year before her death, Anastasia fell in love with Roman. He's 16. The teenagers met at a gathering of their common friends. Can the boy have any relation to the girl's death?
I loved her. It took me 6 months to win Anastasia's heart. I did the best I could to win her. When we began dating and she told me she loved me for the first time, I even cried. I made a large heart of candles for her. Then we burned the candles, and everyone was chanting, "Anastasia, he loves you."
It's a huge tragedy for him. He loved her. They thought of each other all the time.
Now she's gone, but I'd give up anything to bring her back.
Who could have done it? Why did the girl die so soon? And why was she in the wedding dress in her casket, not at her wedding?
That night, Anastasia told her parents she was going to see her friend. She said they were going to prepare for the chemistry test. Her friend lives nearby.
She left home at 7:45, and it happened at 8:20.
However, Anastasia's friend doesn't live in the building next to which her body was discovered, and Anastasia and her friend didn't have an arranged meeting on the day of the tragedy.
The clairvoyants arrive at the house in which Anastasia lived. The girl's father is meeting them. Her mother refused to see the psychics at the last moment, claiming she was so worried that she wouldn't bear it.
Hello.
Hello.
My name's Andre. We'd really love you to help us understand what really happened.
Can I?
Come in.
I immediately saw a woman's phantom. She was dressed in all white. But before I had a chance to tell everyone about what I saw, the woman literally vanished. People who are planning to commit suicide are usually very aloof, but she was a very talkative, lively kid. From the point of view of psychology, such behavior is not peculiar if she was really going to do it. The cards are showing me that the decision was made spontaneously. That is, the fact that she ended up there was a purely snap decision. She hadn't planned to be there. Anastasia was like an animal at bay. When she left home, she was all right. Then, at some point, she starts running, runs in the door, and climbs the stairs to the rooftop.
Let's see how she could climb to the rooftop. The locals told us all the doors that lead to the rooftop have been locked for a long time. Only certain people have the keys to them. As we can see, it's not true. The iron door to the rooftop is open, and the lock has long gone. The hinges are rusty and creaky. Anyone could have access to the rooftop.
But if the decision to climb to the rooftop was spontaneous, as the psychics say, how did Anastasia know how to get there?
Hello, pretty.
It's my younger daughter. Her name's Maryna.
Hello.
Hi. How old are you?
7.
They were very close. They spent so much time together. They drew and played together.
My heart is broken. She helped me with reading, writing, and doing math, and I helped her love me.
Do you see your sister in your dreams?
Almost every night.
Maryna opts not to mention the dreams that are tormenting her every night. It worries her parents a lot.
I didn't want to say it. It's so terrifying that I fear to even mention it.
And then I realized that if we didn't find the reason behind Anastasia's death, Maryna would be next on the death list. I really need to see the site of the death.
The clairvoyants go to the place where Anastasia's body was found.
Hello.
The police officer in charge of the investigation joins the psychics. The law enforcers have no evidence that Anastasia was murdered, nor do they have motives that would prove it was suicide.
She wasn't prone to suicide. To tell the truth, I don't understand what could have pushed her to do it.
At that moment, I heard an ominous, quiet whisper behind me. It was a phrase. I waited for them. I turned around and saw the woman in white again.
Jana, here.
Yes, it's right.
It feels like somebody came here running, chasing her. It's a woman. She came running from a junction.
Her mother was here immediately.
Literally 5 minutes after Anastasia fell, her mother came running to her body.
How come the mother was there? It was very suspicious. She doesn't live with you. Does the mother live far away from here?
I have no idea, to be honest.
As it turned out, Anastasia's parents are divorced. They broke up 2 years before their daughter's death.
The divorce was hard for both parties.
Andre claims his wife complained that he paid her little attention.
She started scandals all the time, so I told her, if you don't like something, then goodbye. And she turned around and left.
The only thing that I find surprising is that the children didn't stay with her.
After the mother left their home, She didn't communicate with them for a while. The father couldn't pay his daughters enough attention because of his work. So he took his daughters and moved with them to this house where his parents live.
I thought that here, where there's somebody to watch over them, it would be a lot simpler and better.
Her parents' divorce was extremely hard for Anastasia. She felt betrayed and left by everyone. Her mother didn't live with them, while her father worked all the time.
She missed her mother a lot.
Indeed, 2 weeks before the tragedy, Anastasia asked her father to let her go see her mom. But what does it have to do with her death? And is her mother somehow connected to what happened?
Shouts, hysterical screams, some kind of misunderstanding.
She and her mom fought often. Her mom scolded Anastasia a lot and forbade her to see Roman.
Anastasia's mother disapproved of her daughter's affection. The woman was nervous every time she saw Roman nearby.
Roman. And all of us once prepared a surprise for her.
He wrote, "I love you."
She was at her mom's then. Her mother came outside and told her to go to her room. She forbade her to go outside to hug him, or at least say thank you. They love each other, but they're kids.
She got pissed and went back to her father's.
She came back to live with me.
A week before the tragedy, she returned to live with her father.
The woman can't control herself, and in this condition, she acts impulsively. And then it came as an electric shock. Was it possible that she did something to her daughter when she was emotional?
Let's call the mother.
It's strange, but after the police officers called, the woman agreed to see the clairvoyants. But earlier that day, she'd refused.
Hello.
Maryna.
You were at the site where Anastasia was found. What were you doing there?
Make him leave. I'm not going to speak in his presence.
So, this is why the woman initially refused to see the psychics. She didn't wish to be near her ex-husband.
Do you have something to hide?
No.
Why didn't your daughter stay with you?
I think it's our personal matter.
But this did harm to your child.
Are you going to teach me? I am what I am, and I don't want to continue this conversation.
She had nothing to say, as she understood perfectly that she was guilty.
Anastasia really needed motherly warmth, love, and attention. But because of her mother's behavior, she felt like nobody needed her.
But still, how come the woman was among those who first discovered her daughter's body?
A scandal at home. Her dad told her to go away.
There really was the scandal. A week before the tragedy, after she had the conflict with her mother, the girl returned home. Soon after, her father came back from work. He says he made a silly joke.
I came home and found her sitting in front of the computer. So I say, "I thought you went to live with your mom," and she got up and ran away. Half an hour later, the police arrived.
We received a call that a father was trying to drive his daughter out of the house. When the group arrived, they spoke to him. And then Anastasia really left home, if I'm not mistaken. She spent the night at Roman and his grandma's.
Roman lives with his grandmother. His father was killed by robbers even before his son was born. 5 years ago, after his mother died, the boy became an orphan. As someone who had plenty of hardships in his life, he understood Anastasia really well.
She had many problems at home. They could take away her laptop, her phone, or earbuds, anything, but they decided to take away me instead, and so she did everything she could to see me.
She even told him in front of me, "Even my parents don't pay as much effort to my education as you."
Dad offended her. He scolded her so much that I can't even express it with words. He shouted so loudly that our neighbors heard him in their house. He punished her and he grounded her. She wasn't doing well.
Anastasia's parents both did terrible things. After the divorce, they began a heated competition to show which of them was a better parent. Her mother scolded her for dating a boy, while her father shouted at her for visiting her mother, and for the boy too. Maryna is little, but she already understands everything. Anastasia felt like nobody needed her. Nobody except Roman, of course.
She always spoke of Roman, as if if there were nobody else in the world? They loved each other a lot. And so Anastasia behaved so. That is why Dad didn't approve of their love. They were like Romeo and Juliet.
But what happened that night when Maryna's sister was found dead? The clairvoyants come back to the site of the tragedy to climb to the rooftop. Could they possibly learn the truth there?
She's not alone here. Somebody's running after her. 2 guys are running from over there.
I heard it again. I waited for them. I waited for them. I waited for them. And I saw the woman in white again. She lowered her head silently, as if allowing us to find out the truth. She was standing her beck here. She's alone here. She's waiting for someone to come here. She's waiting for this person, for help from them. She's waiting for this person. She's frightened. If you see the guys, could they be possibly chasing her?
One of them is taller, and he's skinny. The other is a bit sturdier and shorter.
Roman.
The investigator recognized Anastasia's boyfriend from the description. But who is the second guy the clairvoyants mentioned?
She knew him well. He could be her friend.
Did Roman and his friend chase Anastasia? But why? Could Roman be involved in the death of the girl he loved madly?
He's terribly jealous.
2 hours before Anastasia's death, Roman saw her chat with Stas. She flirted with him.
Stas is Roman's classmate. He met Anastasia through their common friends.
Yes, I found her chat with her friend. She wrote that Roman had called her to tell her off for texting Stas.
2 hours before death, he phoned Anastasia to express his anger, saying, "How dare you? I'm leaving."
She denies everything. She says it's not true.
I phoned Anastasia, and she told me it wasn't true.
She said she had no idea what Roman was talking about.
There was nothing in that chat that could provoke such a conflict. It was mere communication.
Roman called Stas, and he explained to Roman it was a joke. He had nothing with Anastasia, and it was an ordinary conversation. After that, Roman called Anastasia.
But she wouldn't answer his calls. She only texted him.
15 minutes later, she sent him a text in which she said she didn't want to live anymore.
She told him she was on this rooftop.
Yes, she sent another text.
She texted me saying she was going to kill herself and that she was on the rooftop.
Roman immediately understood where she was. It turned out that they'd often had dates on this rooftop.
We would sit there looking at the night city when everything was shining. It was beautiful.
She's standing and she's waiting.
But he didn't show up, right?
He's calling out to her. He's running and shouting, but the girl is already falling.
When my friend and I climbed there, we didn't find her. I searched that rooftop but didn't find her.
The investigators found that at the moment the boys entered the building, Anastasia was already falling.
At that moment, the woman in white approached me again. She raised her head, and I finally saw her face. It was Anastasia, but she was different. She looked like she was 10 years older, and she repeated, "I waited for them, I waited for them. I wanted them to come and understand everything." It's not the reason for suicide, it's the reason for an emotional breakdown, but not suicide. She didn't kill herself.
But if Anastasia didn't jump from the rooftop herself, then what happened in reality?
She faints.
Could she faint?
It turned out that Anastasia had fainted quite often recently, both at school and at home. She was diagnosed with vegetative vascular dystonia.
She often fainted at school.
I once saved her in the sea. We were swimming, and Anastasia fainted. I dragged her to the shore. We'd often called ambulance for Anastasia recently.
She often fainted. She was nervous a lot.
And then I had a clear vision of Anastasia at the edge of the rooftop. She seemed to be waiting for someone, looking out for them, writing something on her phone. Then she got angry, threw the phone to the ground, and started waiting again, fingering and pressing the rings on her fingers. She was extremely worried and nervous.
If we assume that Anastasia really fell from the rooftop unconscious, then it makes sense why the body was found so close to the wall, and she could easily deform her rings herself.
It's apparent she didn't commit suicide, I'm sure of that.
She was waiting for everyone whose love she needed.
The woman in white was Anastasia herself, but in her dream to be a bride in a beautiful dress, to be loved, and the only one. Because she had a haunting feeling nobody needed her. Her sister was her dearest and closest person in the world, but Maryna is too little, and Roman is the person who understood and supported her, and his suspicion of her probable unfaithfulness became a disaster for her.
Unfortunately, she didn't find the other way to draw attention to herself, but to climb to the rooftop and tell her closest people she was there.
Anastasia didn't want to die. She simply wanted to return her boyfriend. After she climbed to the rooftop and texted him, she wanted to show him she loved him so much that she was ready to die. She hoped he'd come and save her, and others would see it. She would be the center of his attention, and her family would finally understand they couldn't lose her, and their attitude toward her would change.
Later on, it turned out that Anastasia also sent a text to her mother, aside from her boyfriend. This is why the woman was at the site of the tragedy earlier than the police arrived.
She sent me a text saying she would soon be gone. I first thought it was a joke.
The father didn't come down from the rooftop for a long time, smoking and crying there. Probably this man's story will be a lesson to many and show how discord in a family can influence children, because children are innocent. The mutilated body of a first-year student was found in a field. Could this have been an occult murder? Don't miss out. The clairvoyance will reveal the horrifying truth. This is the last video in which 17-year-old Andrei Kolb is caught alive. He's at his high school graduation ceremony. After that, the young man enrolled in the University of Internal Affairs, dreaming of becoming a law enforcement officer. However, after his first semester, he disappeared without a trace. This happened during the winter holidays when Andrei arrived home.
We had dinner together and he said, "Mom, I'm going out." I told him, "Just don't be long, son," and went to bed. I woke up at 5 a.m., but he wasn't home yet. I dialed him. His phone was off. My heart sank. In 17 and a half years, it had never happened that he hadn't returned home.
The woman and her elder daughter, Maryna, started calling all of Andrei's friends and acquaintances at 5 a.m.
No one had seen him. We called the police.
A massive search began. No one remained indifferent.
But it yielded no results.
We searched all the abandoned houses, pits, ditches, cellars, and wells.
Where could the first-year student have gone? And most importantly, was he alive?
We even thought he was beaten and lost his memory. But we still hoped he was alive. I went to bed holding his photo, crying and begging, "Son, please come to me in my dreams."
So the detectives stayed there day and night.
After 7 months of searching, the mother was informed that her son was found dead, without his head and hands.
The people who found the body contacted me.
I was mowing hay with my tractor and saw something in this spot. Then I saw the sneakers. I called the police immediately, and an investigative team arrived.
The body was almost completely skeletonized. The relatives couldn't recognize Andrei in it, but the clothes were the same as when the boy disappeared. His mobile phone was also with him, in his pants pocket. Thus, the police immediately ruled out robbery as a motive. The bones were intact, so they also ruled out that he was hit by a car.
It's a great tragedy. His mother was dark with grief.
I bring flowers to his grave every day.
But Maria still doubts whether she buried her son.
Yes, the clothes were my son's, but there's no other confirmation that it's him.
But if Andrei is indeed alive, where is he then? And if the buried body is indeed his, how did he end up in the middle of a field, several kilometers away from the nearest villages and roads? Was he murdered? Then who, why, and how did it?
The experts cannot find the cause of death due to the complete absence of soft tissues.
I want to ask the psychics to come and help me figure it out.
Clairvoyant Hala Polishchuk volunteered to help the mother. Molfar Olena Stetsenko will work on this case with her.
I sense a piercing chill emanating from this photograph. I'm sorry, but the boy is no longer among the living. I feel pain in my arms and legs. Sharp spikes pierce his body. It's some kind of nightmare. It seems like he was tortured. I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of ritual. The boy seems to have been surrounded from all sides. He definitely wasn't alone at the moment of death.
The clairvoyants meet to share what they sensed before heading to the village where Andrei lived.
I had a dream of a young man, a boy essentially. He was covered in blood, and he was terribly scared.
I saw a creature. It was very terrifying and hairy. I felt overwhelming, numbing horror. Is this creature connected to the boy's death?
The psychics decide to figure out what it means on site.
Hello.
Hello. I have no idea what happened to my son.
Let's go inside.
This is Andrei's photo.
It feels like he's calling you even after death. You and him share a powerful bond.
Hearing the clairvoyant's words, Maria just can't hold back. She hoped, until the last moment, that her son was alive and that she had buried a stranger.
I dreamed of him. In the dream, I saw him walking and ran toward him, but he gave me a strange look. His eyes were like glass, and then he ran away from me. I started running after him, but I never caught up with him.
Something terrified him before his death. He seemed to be running, trying to escape, but he didn't make it.
It's like the monster I saw. It gives me chills.
By a strange coincidence, on the same day when the clairvoyants were working almost 500 kilometers from the capital, their colleague Yaroslava Fedorova called our editorial office.
I had a dream last night. There was a boy, very young, not older than 20. He was outside. It was completely dark around, but the moon was shining very brightly. He was running somewhere, and several people were chasing him. They were in black robes that reached down to the ground and had burning torches in their hands.
When we showed her Andrei Kolb's photo, she recognized the boy from her dream.
It was definitely him, and I saw the final moments of his life.
Yaroslava Fedorova and Hala Polishchuk both saw the chase after Andrei. But who were the people running after him? And why did someone cut off Andrei's hands and head?
Suddenly, I felt as if someone pulling me from behind. I tuned in and realized it was Andrei, asking me to go somewhere. He was pulling me in that direction. Before he disappeared, I saw him in a crowded place. He said, "Go there."
It's the center of the village.
It's a small village with a population of only 3,000 residents. Usually, all the young people gather in one place in the evenings, the center. Andrei was indeed here on the evening of his disappearance. His friend saw him.
I asked him, "Are you going home?" And he said, "No, I'll stay out a bit longer."
Nobody knows what Andrei was doing near the cafe and what happened to him afterward.
When we tuned in to Andrei's energy near the cafe in the center of the village, I had the feeling that he'd been waiting for someone there. He was waiting for a girl he had feelings for. She was supposed to come there. What's your name?
Maryna.
Irina is Andri's girlfriend. Since the day he disappeared, she's been restless. She tries to support his mother as much as she can.
It's so hard. I love him so much. I still can't believe it. We dreamed of living together. We were already thinking about the future.
I saw Andri before his death. On the last evening of his life, he hoped to see his girlfriend. But she didn't come. Why were you upset with him? You even shut yourself off and didn't answer his calls. Was that the case?
We'd had a fight approximately a month before it happened.
Were you trying to make him do something? You're not telling us something, but it's important, Irina. It's important because there's something hidden in this.
Back then, we couldn't even imagine what important secret Irina was hiding. Later, it will change the course of the investigation into Andri's death. But for now, Irina isn't even telling the truth to her deceased boyfriend's mother. Meanwhile, the clairvoyants are trying to sense how Andri ended up in the middle of the field, 3 kilometers from here.
A party of people.
They're all young, and I see a vehicle approach them.
They greet one another. Yes, these are friends.
They arrived in a vehicle. It's a car.
And Andri hesitates whether he should go or not.
They left by car.
I worked with Andri's photo and tried to see the last moments of his life through his eyes. And I saw people in black robes chasing the boy again. Among them, one man stood out. He said a strange phrase, damnatio ad bestias.
Our detective immediately decides to find out what these words mean.
Damnatio ad bestias. This was a ritual of sacrifice, death penalty by beasts.
Could this be related to Andri's death? Who and why would take the life of an innocent young man so cruelly? The clairvoyants felt that before his death, Andri went to the neighboring village to visit people he barely knew.
I tried to tune in to feel where exactly the men took Andri. I saw a small white house and an old woman sitting on the porch. Do you have the map of the area?
Yes, I do.
We need this place.
This is incredible. Olena Stetsenko pointed to the village where Andri's body was found 7 months after his disappearance. Was he held somewhere before his death? But why? And who could do it?
I saw what Andri saw. He entered an unfamiliar room. In the middle of it, there was a dining table with various dishes. People were sitting at the table, celebrating something, but he was anxious.
Is Yaroslava Fedorova seeing the exact place that the other 2 clairvoyants are trying to find now?
When we passed an old house in the village, I saw Andri's spirit at its gate.
Good afternoon.
Hello?
As the Molfar said, an old woman with a cane is sitting on the porch. But how is this related to Andri's death?
Can we work a little bit here?
Yes, of course.
The elderly woman was the owner of the house. But Hala and I tuned in to the time when Andri had been there. And I felt that the woman hadn't been there then. A family couple with a child occupied the house.
As it turned out, the clairvoyant was right. In 2012, the elderly woman lived with her grandson in a neighboring village and rented her house out for some time.
I see the picture through Andri's eyes again. He's sitting. People around are laughing and having fun. But then he notices that the people are exchanging glances as if they are up to something. Andri stands up and says goodbye to everyone going to leave.
He wasn't killed here.
Nothing happened here.
During the search for Andri, the detectives inspected every yard in the village where he lived, as well as in nearby villages, including this one. They checked the yards for blood, Andri's personal belongings, or other suspicious traces.
We found nothing at all.
According to the psychics, Andri left this house alive.
Andri wanted to get out of this place as soon as possible. He hurriedly put on either a jacket or a sheepskin coat, but the owner of the house stopped him at the door. He said, "I'll walk you out." And then the boy noticed that the man's eyes were red. He understood that his only chance to survive was to run.
It seems someone attacked him, but Andri broke free and ran. He chose that direction for a reason. It was as if someone started chasing him. But I'm not sure who it was. I need to check this first, and it's better to do it there, at the place where Andri's body was found.
I saw what Andri saw. It's dark. I'm running as fast as I can. I'm being chased. I look back and see the people in black robes.
All this seems to be some kind of terrible ritual. What really happened to the boy? How did he die? And why were Andri's hands and head separated from his body?
It feels like the people the boy sees are members of some kind of secret order or sect. It's possible that Andri's death was a ritual murder.
Could it be that the 17-year-old boy was invited as a guest and then sacrificed by some cultists? The project's detective, Katerina Malichenko, immediately checks this version and finds out what sects exist in the area where Andri was found dead.
There are 25 charismatic sects operating there. I printed out a list of them and went around with it, hoping that at least one name would be familiar to the locals. And it turned out that everyone knew about a specific religious community.
They've got a sect called Zion.
They call it a church, but it's a sect. They shout, sing, and dance.
Zion used to have a branch in the village where Andri lived. It was closed after one of the parishioners, Natalia, sacrificed her 1-year-old son.
She worked as a kindergarten teacher and even graduated from a pedagogical institute.
She threw her son into a well.
The tragedy occurred over 10 years ago. After that incident, the organization stopped its activities several times and then resumed them again. So, did Andrei Kulp really become a victim of local sect members?
The field. He found peace here.
Something terrified him. A lot.
Something grabbed him by the legs. He got really terrified and ran like crazy.
Our detective managed to find the man who rented the house where, according to the clairvoyance, Andrei Kulp spent the last minutes of his life.
Are you Mikhailo?
Yes.
Who lived with you in the house in 2012?
Me, my wife, and my daughter.
I already told you that I'm investigating the death of Andrei Kulp. Did you know him?
Well, Andrei, it was the second time I saw him, really.
We were shocked, but the man admitted that on the evening he disappeared, January 10th, Andrei was indeed in that house, where the sense brought the clairvoyance.
What were you celebrating that evening, January 10th?
My friend had a daughter born. That day, well, you understand, we went to buy vodka and beer and then invited our friends. And Andrei was among them. We drank, played cards, and had a good time.
How about conflicts? Did anyone fight?
No. Why fight? The man was happy.
How do you think Andrei ended up dead in the field?
At around 2 a.m, he said, "Let's go home." I said, "We'll finish drinking and then go." He went out onto the porch and that was it.
I talked to Mikhailo's wife and several other boys who, as it turned out, were the last people who saw Andrei alive. Their testimonies match. I have no reasons to suspect that they are lying.
But then, who was chasing Andrei before his death?
He runs looking back.
Strangely, the people chasing him turned into dogs. How is that possible? They sink their fangs into his legs, tearing his clothes along with pieces of flesh.
Is it even possible for people to turn into dogs? Werewolves don't exist. They are fictional creatures from Hollywood movies. However, the man who found the boy's remains did see that his clothes were indeed torn.
The clothes were torn. Maybe animals did it?
Damnatio ad bestias.
Damnatio ad bestias is death penalty by beasts.
We don't know what to think or how to explain all this.
When I tuned in to view the situation from the side, I didn't see a single person around him. There were dogs, but no people. Andrei was the only one who saw them. I think he hallucinated.
Does it mean that the man with the red eyes and the chase were a mere hallucination? But Andrei was mentally stable.
Andrei, talk to us.
He's not himself. He wasn't himself. Starting from that house, something was wrong with his head. Did he take drugs?
Is it possible he was given something in that house?
Irina, was it the reason of your argument? Did he use some substances?
Yes. We quarreled because of this? Yes. Weed.
So that's what Andrei's girlfriend was hiding from everyone. A few months before his death, Andrei started smoking marijuana, and that's why Irina quarreled with him.
Yes, his friends influenced him a lot. They were involved with drugs.
We remembered that Andrei's mother had a nightmare after his death, which she couldn't interpret.
I saw him walking and ran to him, but he gave me a strange look. His eyes were like glass.
Smoking marijuana makes eyes look glassy. Does it mean that what Yaroslava Fedorova saw through his eyes was indeed a hallucination, and in reality, Andrei was attacked by dogs?
How would you comment the case that happened to Andrei Kulp?
A psychosis developed against the background of perceptual distortions. Then delusions began. He got scared and ran.
According to the villagers, there are many stray dogs in the area. So we can assume that Andrei was indeed mauled by dogs.
At the beginning of the investigation, I felt that sharp teeth sank into Andrei's arms and legs. Those were dog teeth.
I didn't know that.
He feels guilty towards you, and he is deeply upset that you are now alone and have given up on life. He asks you to forgive him.
Thank you for everything. Thanks for helping me figure it out.
Maria, you're surrounded by people who support you.
I know. Irina is like a daughter to me.
You must return to living now.
What a terrible story of a stupid death due to drugs. A terrible crime remains unsolved. A young mother was tied up and strangled, and the murderer, motherly, covered her body with a blanket and left it on the shore of the estuary. But the monster will be found many years later. His victim's spirit will point at him. In this episode, the psychics are going to shed some light on the baffling murder of a young mother from Ukraine, 23-year-old Anna Sukhanova.
I was really shocked to learn about that. It was extremely hard.
Anna's body was found on the shore of the estuary, 15 kilometers away from Odessa, on the 3rd of October, 2013.
The young woman was severely beaten and strangled. Her arms and legs were tied with stick tape, and her mouth was gagged with it.
It was the cruelest murder in the region in years. Dozens of the best detectives were involved in the investigation.
There were no witnesses, no evidence, no murderer. It's been underway for 3 years already.
Anna Sukhanova lived with her daughter, Karina, her husband, and her mother-in-law.
That evening, she went to meet with her friend Ilona and promised to be back in an hour. However, she later called her husband, Ihor, and said something very strange, claiming somebody was hunting her, and she was scared.
Ihor told us she'd said a car was following her.
It was the last phone call from Anna. She vanished after that.
The same night, she was brought to the morgue as an unidentified body.
The victim's ID or personal items were never found. Ilona, her friend with whom she had the meeting, also went missing.
It's been 3 years since the detectives started searching for Ilona, who the investigation views as a witness. But could she be an accomplice, or is she even still alive?
Anna was a housewife and raised her daughter. According to her family, she never had any enemies.
I still can't understand who could be following her or why somebody would need to kill her.
To find out the victim's name, the law enforcers showed her photo on the local TV station. This is how her body was identified.
We went to the identification. I immediately recognized her once I saw her.
My uncle told me my mom had died. Dad cried a lot, and so did I.
Ihor was the victim's common-law husband and a stepfather to Karina, not her biological father. After Anna died, the family ceased all communication with him. I've tried to contact the man, but so far, in vain. Nevertheless, I don't lose hope.
The 9-year-old Karina understands her mother is gone. But most of all, she would like to see her one more time, even briefly, to tell her,
Mommy, I love you so much. Please don't leave me.
Karina is Anna's copy, a little identical copy.
Anna called her daughter a little wonder. The girl remembers her mother hugging her and whispering tenderly in her ear,
You're the best daughter. There's nobody else like you in the whole world. And she played with me. She swung me on the swing. And I used to repeat, I'm a birdie.
Karina was only 6 when her dearest person was murdered.
It doesn't feel like Mom died, but me.
Anna's brother took her daughter to live with him. Karina has no other relatives. However, the loss of her mother became too stressful for the girl, and she retreated into herself.
She sits down in the corner of the room, curls up, and sheds tears. Of course, we tried to do something about it, and went to see a therapist.
Only 2 years later, Karina's smile came back.
I would like the psychics to arrive and find the person who murdered my sister.
I really want to know who did it and look into their eyes. For what? She was only 23. What harm did she do to anybody? Why did they kill her?
The most powerful psychics in the project, Kayal Alekbarov and Yana Pasinkova, took up the case. On their way there, the clairvoyants decided to share their initial feelings.
Last night, I had a dream. In it, a woman ascended the staircase of a building and stopped in front of the apartment 38. Could it be the place where the murderer lives?
I see a man. He's black all over, and his clothes are strange, something like a gown, a cape, or a coat. He points at a cross. It's either a graveyard or a church. And then the hills. Or it could also be lettering. I don't get it. Kayal, it looks like some kind of clues.
My djinns say, find the person with the dragon. She knows an important secret.
You might be surprised, but the psychics are going to find this person. Meanwhile, Yevgeny and his wife, Yulia, are waiting for them. Their friends and neighbors have also gathered to know the truth about Anna's death.
Hello?
Hello.
Thank you so much for coming and...
Take a card, please. Who owns these walls now? Whose apartment is this?
It's mine and my wife's.
1 second. Anna was also supposed to inherit it.
Yevgeny and Anna's grandmother bequeathed her 3-bedroom apartment in the downtown to them.
They were planning to sell it because Yevgeny wanted to live separately, and Anna was already living with a man. So they decided to split it.
Yes, real estate is also a motive, and a very strong one. The date for the sale of the apartment had been arranged, but 4 days before it, Anna was murdered. Quite a strange coincidence.
I didn't do it. I've never killed anybody in my life.
Can I have your hand, please? I see you being beaten.
Yes.
By a man in a uniform.
You'll tell me everything, you jerk, this man says.
Was this man forcing you to confess that you'd murdered your sister?
The police arrested me the next day after Anna was found dead. They thought I was involved in the murder. 4 of them beat me, attempting to crush me mentally.
It is typically the relatives who are initially subjected to suspicion, especially when there is a motive. In this case, it was the apartment under their joint ownership. But after the police checked Yevgeny, they released him.
He was home with his wife at the moment of the murder.
My gins are speaking of the girl related to Anna.
There is the girl, Anna's daughter. Her name is Karina. We love her as our own child.
Was there an outsider who was making trouble? Like, trying to take the girl forcefully?
Ihor. This is the man Anna lived with.
He wanted to have custody of the girl, but was denied it.
Where's her biological father?
Nobody knows that, but he's alive. However, we have no idea where he could be.
Anna married early, and when she got pregnant, her husband left her. But Anna decided to give birth to the baby anyway. It was hard, but she never regretted her choice.
She always put her daughter first, so she was always fed and clean. She would even save money by denying herself something she wanted to buy.
I feel the man Anna lived with is like a werewolf. Calm on the outside, but at some moment he becomes a beast.
He can't control his actions.
The man could be the murderer. So, I decided to check this theory. Do you have Ihor's photo?
I have it on my tablet.
Is it at your home? Let's go there.
The psychics follow the family to the apartment. After they moved in, the spouses have been gradually renovating it.
This is Ihor.
The murderer's energy emanates from this man. It happened about 3 years ago when Anna died. Could he have really strangled her? My gins inform me that this man is currently in custody.
It took me a while to find Anna's partner, but I eventually found him. Ihor is indeed in prison. He's serving a sentence at a penal colony for an attempted murder. However, it has nothing to do with Anna. He was sentenced after her death in 2014 for stabbing a friend of his in the neck in a drunken brawl. The man survived.
Therefore, at the moment of Anna's death, Ihor wasn't in prison yet. That is, he could be the murderer.
Ihor refused to talk in front of the cameras, but I had a chance to speak to him in private. On the night of Anna's death, Ihor was at home with her daughter and his mother. We have had this information confirmed.
The man turned to a life of crime after Anna died. It's good he failed to adopt the little Karina. The girl could have suffered because of what he did.
He took her with him to where he usually went. You know, the places where lots of drunks meet. I didn't like it a lot. So eventually, my wife and I took the girl to raise her in normal conditions.
Karina, Anna's daughter, entered the room. The girl had just come back from her English class with the tutor.
Hello, little one. Can I talk to you? I wanted to work with the girl to try to feel through her what had happened to Anna. Because the bond between a mother and her child endures even death. I feel your mom comes to visit you.
Yes. I mean, sometimes I have a feeling that she's around me, hugging me.
Suddenly, Kayal Alekperov decided to go outside, and everyone went after him.
I felt where the woman had gone on the last night of her life.
Kayal! Where's he going?
The feeling brought the psychic to a bus stop, not far from Yevgen's home.
Your sister was here, and she wasn't alone. It's dark, and I hear voices. Anna speaks to some young woman. They seem to know each other well.
I see her. She's fair-haired. She's bright as a Barbie.
Her name is Ilona. It's her friend. They went to school together. She's blonde. She dyes her hair.
Now I see your sister and her friend going over there. And here, somebody was waiting for Anna. This woman, Ilona, she vanished for a reason. She knows the murderer. I see a fair vehicle. It's a van or a small truck, and a man of about 45 getting out of it. He's of average height and built. He has graying hair.
He's not married.
The murderer drags Anna into the van.
Look, she knows the man. And he knows her.
But Anna didn't want to see him.
They argue over something. He tells her, "You're fooling me. You're lying to me."
He loses control of himself. He starts beating her in the vehicle. Anna screams. The man fears somebody could hear her scream. Then he ties her up.
The stick tape.
The gag of stick tape.
Then he strangles her with his hands, and she dies.
Yes, mechanical asphyxia was recognized as the reason for her death.
The man takes her somewhere.
There's Suki Estuary over here.
We need to go where Anna's body was found. The psychics are on their way to the place where Anna's body was found. But suddenly, something behind the windows draws the attention of Yana Pasinkova.
Kayal, look to your right. Do you remember what I told you this morning? I see a man. He's black all over, and his clothes are strange. Something like a gown, a cape, or a coat. He points at a cross. Can I get out? I realized what I'd seen that morning. It was a monument. I also had to use the remaining clues.
Let's do what? I'm going with Yevgeny to the site where Anna was found dead. And you, Yana and Yulia, go where the signs lead. Where will the strange signs from her vision take Yana Pasinkova? Is it possible that she'll find the murderer?
Stop. The same cross. Can we turn left now?
Yana, you're doing such amazing things. I can't believe it. I've lived in Odessa for so many years, but I can't navigate in the city as well as you, who only arrived here and found what you were looking for immediately.
I didn't understand where the signs were leading me, but then the slim blonde's image visited me again. The clues were leading us to Ilona, the missing friend of the victim. All right, let's get out. Hi, what's your name?
Yarek.
Is your mom's name Ilona?
Yes.
Has the clairvoyant found the missing woman who was the last person to see Anna alive?
Hello?
Hello.
We're looking for Ilona.
Get out of here, please.
Wait up. Don't shove me. The man attacked me and was ready to punch me. But what matters most is that I found Ilona and even had a chance to speak to her.
Do you want this man to kill me too? You'd better find someone else.
I need your help.
After much deliberation, Ilona finally revealed to the clairvoyant the name of the man whose van Anna was riding in.
Alexander.
He's over 40, isn't he?
And his hair is graying.
He's got no wife, no family, right?
A wooden stare. He looks at you as if he's a maniac.
He's got a van, doesn't he?
He had a van.
How can we find him?
He lived in Marshala Jukava Street.
The building number?
38.
It's strange, but Kayal Alekbarov has also seen the number 38, but he said it was the number of the apartment, not the building. Could this be the address where the murderer lives? Meanwhile, Kayal Alekbarov and the victim's brother are finally at the spot where Anna's body was found.
I feel the man takes your dead sister in his arms, and he carries her over there. This is where she was found.
Yes.
The murderer covered her with something warm.
He covered her legs with something dark. It was some kind of garment.
Anna's friends who arrived with the psychic to the site of her death froze, anticipating the answer.
He showed care. He had strong feelings for Anna. Do you know something about it?
I don't.
The man wanted her to be only his woman. And what's most important, he wanted her to leave her damned work. What kind of job could it be? And then the djinns showed me the picture I'd seen at the beginning of the investigation. Find the person with the dragon. But they also showed me that person's face. It was a woman. She must know where Anna worked. Do you know it?
Maryna.
It's the dragon.
The dragon.
Did you know Anna well?
Yes, we grew up together.
What secret about her job are you concealing?
I don't want to talk about it.
You must tell it immediately. It's what can help us find the murderer. Was she a woman of easy virtue?
She was a prostitute.
Do you remember the bus stop where Anna had a meeting with Ilona? It was the place where they worked. People call it a 100-meter strip. Girls stand there day and night, selling themselves.
But Anna lived with the man. Did he know she sold her body?
Yes.
This is utterly shocking. It turned out that Ihor, Anna's partner, was responsible for converting her into a prostitute. Anna loved Ihor so much that she agreed to become the woman of easy virtue.
Who killed her?
One of her clients who fell in love with her did it.
The clairvoyants exchanged the information by phone and arranged a meeting at the address that the victim's friend, Ilona, told them.
Ilona told us the number of the building, but she didn't tell us the apartment in which Alexander lived. But I suddenly remembered my morning vision. Anna stopped by the apartment. 38.
Apartment 38.
Hello.
Where is Alexander?
We don't have anyone with this name here.
How long have you lived here?
For about half a year.
Who did you purchase the apartment from?
This man, Alexander.
What's his last name?
We can't tell you this.
Alexander disposed of the apartment in which he resided at the address that Ilona knew.
But we couldn't give up on it, and so we went to ask the neighbors. Do you have any contacts of Alexander, like a phone number?
Twice, when he got drunk, we almost had a fight. I don't talk to such neighbors.
I also managed to find some information on Alexander. As of the moment of the murder, he indeed lived in that apartment. An ex-sailor, he's divorced. He's never been convicted of any crimes. But pay attention to the fact that after Anna's death, he sold that apartment, then another one, and then he disappeared. Nobody knows his current whereabouts.
The man sold all his property to avoid prison.
He's rich. He used to be a sailor.
Today, we found an important witness and felt the man who murdered Anna. The remainder is the responsibility of law enforcers.
Thank you so much.
I feel Alexander's life is in danger now. Anna's spirit wishes revenge. And do you know what? We're not going to stop her.
After the investigation by the psychics, we learned that the police found Alexander's trace. However, a tragedy struck him shortly afterward, just like Khayal Alekperov felt.
The culprit died.
What killed him?
I don't know what killed him. We had the information from the attorney that the man had died, and because of it, the case was closed.
Tell me, please, did they have time to interrogate Alexander and conduct a search?
Of course.
Did you find any evidence that would prove it was he who murdered Anna?
We found the hair.
Did you find it in his van?
Yes, and we also found a sneaker that belonged to her.
This is unbelievable. The murderer did whatever he could to avoid justice. However, death found him, just like the psychics had predicted.